Okay, then we need a motion, or welcome everybody. Hi, how are we? Looking at the agenda, how does it look to folks? I mean, there's not a lot really to talk about. We do have a couple new things like to put under new business. I would like to ask for a report from our counselor officially under 8.2, please, Kayla. And I would also like to add 8.3 water and heating system at the hall. And 8.4 would like to add about the water system as well, the replacement of the UV system. Is there anything else anybody'd like to add?
I'm good.
Oh, Councillor Lamers is here. Good. All right, and looking for a mover and a seconder for the agenda as amended.
I'll be a mover.
Thank you, Melanie.
Seconder.
Thank you, Gary. And all in favor?
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes. Aye.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Consider that carried. The minutes were sent out last week by Kayla. Thank you. So our last meeting was on the 14th of January. We had the mayor invited as well as a pretty decent turnout for the whole board. We asked about the water system. Kayla was going to look into it, so I'm going to have an update on that further in this agenda. We have $76,000 in the bank as of November 30th. We resolved to keep the board closed as per status quo, and we had a pretty lengthy conversation with the mayor about the next steps regarding renovations to the hall and where that's going. And we had asked for a few things from the mayor and from council for some direction that we were requesting the hall board needed in order to move on that. So is there any amendments to the agenda as posted?
I see Gary's hand up. Is that for this, Gary?
No, that was for the all in favor.
Oh, sorry.
I'll lower the
Jumping the
hand.
gun, that's great. Eager to vote. Any thing missing from the agenda that anyone sees there? Any problems? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to adopt the minutes as posted.
Mhm.
So I got a Gary as a mover since he's already voted in favor.
Yeah.
Oh, and Melanie's Tina's gonna second. I'm gonna give Tina a second now, just a little different now. Great. And all in favor of that? Perfect.
Yes.
Consider the minutes carried. Moving on. Anyone need to disclose a pecuniary interest for the purposes of this meeting at this time? None declared. And I should have done that before approval of the minutes. Pardon me. I'm already screwing up the agenda. Okay, business arising. I guess it is business arising about the water system. So on January the 27th, I got an email from Amanda that the water system, the hall has been placed. They've also added a new pressure tank and I'm not sure if it's a softener or an iron filter or what, but that is all underneath the stairs in the same room as the UV system. So it's kind of been a pretty big, there's been a pretty big improvement there. There needs to be some tidy up done, and because some of the stuff that was underneath the stairs had to be moved out. Some of there was a big bin from the from the beef barbecue that I think had tablecloths and things like that. And I think that the table legs got moved out of that room too, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, so there's a bit of shuffling around that needs to be done. Maybe we can clean up the space underneath the front stairs where we've got the mugs stored and some of the old chairs as well, to make room for that. But you know, hopefully this new system works. So that's been done. I was not notified. I don't know if anybody else heard, Claire, or I was not notified ahead of time that was going to happen. I only found out because I'll get into it in a little bit under the situation that happened at the hall this past weekend. But I got a note from Amanda that the water system, or that a tap was leaking, and I said, oh, while we're talking about water, we've had this alarm going off for a while. Has anyone looked into it? And then she got back to me right away and said, oh, the system was replaced. So
Yeah, so I apologize. I did know all about that.
okay, great.
I have been in touch with Todd and somebody else. I'm just trying to find the
Dave?
email right now, but I can't find it. That they were going to replace all of that because of the
Okay.
It hadn't been working properly.
Yeah, thank you then. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I hadn't heard anything, so so thanks very much. That's great. Good to hear. Okay. I don't think there's any other new business or any other business arising, pardon me. Rental updates, I guess. Or where should we do our, would it be under business arising, Kayla, to, if we're going to just renew the motion to keep the hall closed at this time?
Yeah, we can move that
Or should
there.
we do that? Yeah, I think that's probably appropriate. Do we need to have, sorry guys, we're kind of straying off the agenda here. I just thought it was on there. So the, just basically a reaffirmation of the motion we've had previously, to keep the hall closed. What was the exact wording on that motion, Kayla?
You
that we used in the
have, be it resolved that the Avening Community Center Hall Board hereby approve keeping the hall closed for the time being.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that before we, Sarah?
I just wanted to tell you, I had somebody who was interested in renting the hall for a professionally produced concert for live stream that would only include the performers and the production staff. So she just checked in to meet with me to see if the hall was available. And I told her at this time that we weren't renting at all, but I just thought I should throw that out to you guys. If it was a private function, so not a public function, and they were responsible for their own COVID protocols, like they would be for any kind of film production, which is allowed under current restrictions, if there's any flexibility or interest in allowing that kind of a booking to happen.
So I received some information from Amanda after we have gone back into the red zone. And it's since you and I chatted, Sarah, so I didn't have this information when you asked me about that last week. But basically what it's saying is that the maximum number of people you can have indoors at indoor events is 5 people.
Does that differ if it's not an event,
and-
if it's an actual like workplace with the like it would be considered a film or production action, not an event?
Yeah, I think it's a
Yeah.
separate category in the framework.
Yeah, it is. And they have their
Meeting and event spaces indoors, 10 people total, specific.
I mean, I'm just telling you because this
Yeah.
person contacted me. I am of no opinion on it, but it could be good for the hall in terms of keeping us relevant for music. And so I guess I should declare a pecuniary interest, although I'm not making any money from the rental, but it also would be a little bit of money. anyway, it's something to consider. She might not even want it. I think she's throwing these feelers out to all kinds of locations.
Okay. Performing arts facilities, no audience is allowed. So you're not talking about audiences. Rehearsing, recording, or broadcasting an event for performance is allowed. For example, streaming a performance to online audience. So it is allowed. Everyone must stay 2 meters apart from one another except when needed for the performance. Okay. There must be a barrier, plexiglass, for example, between singers or wind, brass instruments and other performers. So I guess if someone is depending on what do you have any idea what kind of time it might be permissible under these conditions potentially. It still looks like 10 people total for the indoor capacity based on this framework. But do you have any idea what they're looking at for a timeline?
Well, I don't. I think she was looking for mid-March, but I think honestly she was just kind of trying to get some inclination as to what facilities were available for what. So, I mean, in terms of if there is an interest of the board to allow things that fall under the framework that aren't public events, that are professional and that are being watched over, by a crew, I could get back to her and then we could work through the details if you guys are interested. I'd put her in touch with Claire if there was any interest by the hall.
It wasn't one of our concerns to deal with like the cleaning and the fact that we didn't feel like we could meet the requirements for the cleaning at this time, regardless of who the renter might be.
So that was a concern of mine, how we could ensure that the hall was sanitized every time someone used it, or after someone used it. So yes, Karen, that was a concern.
Yeah. And that our regular cleaner isn't, wouldn't meet the requirements in terms of being, I don't know, is it specific?
Available. She's not available every day to go in and do a full
However,
clean.
you could make it kind of a requirement for rental and to clean. And if it's a professional crew, they're going to be very cautious. So if there's an interest of the board to look at this, I could pass their information along. I don't know if I want to start making exceptions or not.
I was just going to say, I would not want to make an exception just because you're going to have, I don't know, whatever number, 5, 10 cars there. And then people in the community are going to think that it's open and more interest when it really isn't. But that's just my thought.
Yeah, because I do have people calling wanting to have family bowling parties. So that could create some issues.
And the framework, and the framework does say that social gatherings are supposed to be limited to one household. That's where I was reading the 5 people. It was a little bit further down, or in that, it was kind of separate in that blurb. So yeah, like if somebody had if you had a family bowling party with your cousins like that you're not allowed to do that, basically.
Yeah, so I just say no, that we're closed when I get those calls.
Right.
Honestly, I don't want to meet people at the hall.
Good enough
to begin with. Sorry.
What do other people think?
We have to watch, because listening to Dr. Garner today, we may be going back into lockdown again. So we'll know in about 2 weeks' time. So anything after that, we have to watch what we're doing.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it forward so you knew that there was that interest. It does.
Yeah.
It sounds there's no interest at the board, which is totally cool.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we have the motion then as Kayla read out to keep the board closed for the time. It's the one we've passed 2 meetings in a row, I think, at this point, at least. So there's not a lot of there's no change there. It's just the same thing, just to state that we are still closed. Do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Okay, so Lori and Melanie, great. And all in favor? Great. Okay, thanks. Carried. And moving down, I guess we kind of did rental updates there. So we've had some interests, Claire.
Yes, we do. But I just keep telling everyone that the hall is closed. And I haven't had
Yep.
any of my weddings that are planned for this summer. They have not reached out to me in the last month. So I'm not sure where we stand with those future rentals.
Yeah, and I think a lot of things for the summer are really going to depend on the vaccination program and how the numbers come down, right? So yeah, okay. Have to just kind of hold on, I guess, with that. Maybe it might be a good idea for some of those rentals to maybe we could, and if you need help, let me know, but to reach out in early May or that sort of thing, and just as we get closer to summer, just see what people are thinking for those events. Yep. And maybe we might have an idea as well from the township about what we can do and what we can't do.
Sure.
Financial report. Are any questions for Claire before we move on? Great. Financial report, Karen.
Okay. I haven't received a statement since our November meeting, so unfortunately I don't have a new balance to share with you. But I can report that since that meeting, we've paid bills as per budgeted to Creemore Home Hardware, Creemore Echo. It's a sort of overdue invoice. Stevens Fuels and City and Country Pest Control. I expect once I get that December statement, there'll be a request to get everything in for year end. So I'll work on that when that request comes through. And then I think shortly thereafter, there'll be a request for, have we already done our draft budget for this past year?
No, I don't think we haven't done a draft budget for 2021.
Right, we do that at our AGM, or we at least share it at that point. So all of that stuff will be coming up, but that's all I've got for tonight.
Okay, great. Just a question on the Stevens, just because we ran out of oil this past weekend when I was looking at the water system the end of last week. I noticed that it was pretty cold in there, and there was a bit of ice in the taps that were leaking. So I looked at the oil, and there's absolutely no oil. So when was the last time the oil tank would have been filled? Do you know, Karen?
Let me consult paperwork. The last slip I have is dated December 18th.
Wow.
Now, unless there was, oh no, sorry, here's a newer one, January 20th.
So we ran through a tank of oil in 3 weeks. Holy.
Wow.
4 weeks.
It was pretty cold.
Okay, 4 weeks. It was pretty cold. It was pretty, yeah, but the heat would have been pretty low at the hall too. But anyways, okay. All right, 4 weeks. Okay. Fair enough. I was just curious. So it couldn't have been out that long then.
Can I just ask, so with that waterworks that you were looking at, Bill, with the frozen pipe, I think that once we get warmer weather, we should look at that pipe or that, the pipe, because it always freezes.
Yeah.
And I think when the hall's being used, more often and we turn the heat up once a weekend or whatever, then it thaws out. But I'm wondering if it's staying frozen because obviously it's not, there's no use at the hall, but maybe we should look at trying to insulate some of those pipes that run down that wall because I think there's a draft that comes in from
There's a serious
that little
draft that comes
shed
right
or
in.
whatever, where the bathrooms
Yeah.
are.
At the roof there, at the where the ceiling kind of meets. The problem on the weekend was the tap itself, the hot water tap had frozen inside, and the O-ring that basically seals the faucet was frozen, and it had degraded, and it hadn't cracked or anything, but it was a constant drip. And the seating, the brass seating where the O-ring fits in had cracked as well, and it was done. But I was able to take it out and replace that, and it's fine now. Like but the pipe didn't split or anything like that that I saw. So it wasn't a big deal, but definitely that's something worth for the sake of like you just mean that pipe insulation that you can.
Yeah, like when you're standing
slit.
where those pipes are, like you can feel quite a draft, right, coming down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we should maybe look at trying to insulate that or to prevent that from happening again.
That's good. Okay, perfect. Going on to new business, COVID updates. So so Amanda, like I was saying, Amanda sent me an email 2 days ago, just to update us on the provincial framework and reopening and the impact of small halls. So I'll forward it to everybody. Basically, there's a link to what red zone means from the health unit. There is the framework, link to the Ontario framework that's provincially mandated. Red control and what the plan is. Basically, it says if we do decide to reopen, we need to create a safety plan and have it available upon request. Amanda does offer to help with developing that. They are starting kitchen inspections on March 1st for all small halls. And I'm guessing that's in coordination with the health unit. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't really have, doesn't really say, but I'm assuming that's our annual kitchen inspection. And then it has the limits on gatherings and rules for businesses. I know that some halls are renting out space to businesses. Duntroon Hall, for example, has caterers using their kitchen as to operate their takeout business right now. Station on the Green is running some things as well, very small, but there are some halls that are doing things. So anyways, I'll send this along to everybody so that you can see it as well. But I didn't think there was anything in it that was too earth-shattering for us. Yeah.
Did you say that our kitchen will be inspected on March 1st, or
they're starting
March 1st?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know when they'll get to us, whether it will be, the 1st of March or the 31st.
Okay, because I've asked Sally to go in and clean the hall again, but I know she hasn't been there yet. I told her not to go when it's -30 out.
Yeah.
And she was.
Yeah, it might be a good idea. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's actually going to go the 1st of this week, but I'll run in on the weekend and tidy up the kitchen a little bit because we have quite a collection of flies.
Yeah, we do.
I'll meet you there Sunday morning, Claire, if you want.
Okay, just shoot me a text when you can go.
Okay. I work Saturday, but I can meet you there Sunday.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. And okay, great. So that's am I missing anything, Kayla? Anything else from that framework that Amanda sent that I hope needs to know that I missed?
No, you did a really good job summarizing that.
Oh, geez. Thanks. All right, 8.2. I was hoping that that we could get an update from our counselor as to what the whole board should know from the council table at this point.
Not much yet. We're still discussions. We should be coming back in the next month or two to the hall boards to have individual chats with Terry and council. It's a big discussion on trying to figure out how to do all the halls and what to do to all the halls. It's really in depth. Terry's got a really good handle on it, and he's doing a good job of laying his agenda out that he's going to present to the hall boards.
Okay. I guess my I don't know, concern, or I guess I would just like to raise with you, the point I would like to raise with you and the rest of council is I don't understand why the hall boards are not involved in that process. I don't understand why council needs to go in camera to have those discussions. Everybody knows what the options are. The options are the township's going to fix it fully, pay for it. The township's going to fix it, pay for part of it, and we're going to have to fundraise a bunch, or they're going to sell the halls to hall boards that want to run the halls for $1, or they're going to just sell the hall boards and mothball them. Like, everybody knows what the options are, and I think we've been going through this for almost 10 years now, John, and it's really frustrating. It's like a roller coaster, back and forth, and and it's kind of exhausting. Like, let's just have a discussion about it. Like, yeah, okay, council has to make the decision, and that's where it has to rest. But I know from our hall board's perspective, we've gone through a lot with this to try and develop plans, and gone so far as having the township pay for a fully developed, fully engineered set of plans that meet AODA, no one's talked to us in the last 18 months about this since the new Burnside report has come out, and now this. So I guess from my perspective, it's really frustrating. I'm very disappointed in council about this, that you've chosen to do it this way. I think it's, I don't think it's right. I think that the public deserves to know. I think the hall boards deserve to know. I think the hall boards deserve to have a say in how this goes down. We're supposed to be a team. We're not an outside agency you're negotiating with. I mean, for God's sakes, council appointed us as hall board members. Like a lot of people, like these are our communities. These are our we work with our neighbors and to try and keep this place open. And I think that we deserve better than the way this is being done, quite frankly. So without getting too worked up about it, I just hope that you understand that, and you can relay that message on to the other council members, to other staff potentially, and to the mayor, that it's frustrating. I don't know if other people want to say anything or how they feel about it, or if you want to say anything, John, to respond to me, please.
Well, we were hoping to have this back in 2020, but the pandemic hit, so
yeah,
we put it off. Now we're trying to get this pushed forward and get some sort of guidelines set before we come to the individual halls, and then we'll have a hall board meeting, and then we'll have public meeting. If we have everything all at once, we can sit on this computer for 2 or 3 days hashing stuff out.
It's still a lack of transparency. That's the problem, John, is like there's just no transparency, and that's one of the things that's supposed to be for any kind of governing thing in any township. Everything is supposed to be transparent. When you're having closed sessions, you're going against that ruling.
If Terry's setting the agenda, can we have him come to our next meeting and ask us some questions so that we can help set the agenda too, as the people that know these halls have been working on them tirelessly since the day they were born in some cases, and we can help set the agenda?
You're welcome to invite Terry or the mayor or any member of council to any of your meetings. Terry will be glad to have a discussion with you.
Bill, do you see any value in that?
Well, I mean, I invited the mayor to our last meeting in January, and we were pretty clear about asking for. We wanted to have a discussion about it. We wanted to see what the matrices were for moving on this, and just kind of developing a framework. I think it's only fair to the hall board as the ones who are going to be having to work with this, to know kind of what our commitment levels are. Because Dunedin's might be, like, obviously we can't speak for any other hall board. Dunedin's might be vastly different from ours and vastly different from Brentwood's and whatever. I think our hall board's been pretty clear about the willingness to keep it open and to work with the township on it, and to fundraise significant amounts of money if needed. But we're not going to go out hat in hand to the community without knowing, first of all, that the project's going to go ahead. We've been down that road before, where we thought we had a project that was going to go ahead, and the rug got pulled out from under us. And then, where was I going to go with that? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And but yeah, like, I think I think we're pretty responsible hall board. I think we run the hall pretty well. I think we're pretty good stewards of the building, and I know it means a lot to the people around the building. So I think that they deserve to be part of the discussions, and the community should be able to hear what's going on and what the options are all the way through the process. Like I said, none of the options are going to shock anyone. It's pretty obvious what the options are. Anyways,
The biggest thing is how's everybody going to fund this, and how are we going to make it fair to all the halls?
easiest way to do that is have a discussion with us to see, like, I don't know. There's no one counselor who is well versed in all the halls, and yes, I know that the township staff are responsible for the buildings and that sort of thing, but they're not always. There might be a real difference between, say, the volunteer commitment from one count or one hall board to the next, one area to the next. Some hall boards might want to opt to buying the hall off the township for $1 sort of thing, whereas I don't feel that is what would be the will of this hall board. I know we have had that discussion in the past, and it was not at that point. We were not interested in moving that way, and I don't think that has changed. But again, like, at least if council would invite us to be part of this process, I don't think it would take 2 days to figure out, how to go forward on this. Anyhow. All right. Are there any other questions for our council rep about this? Okay. The next thing was just going to go over when I went in to fix it. So Ed and Tina helped me get that going on Saturday. So thanks very much, and to Stevens for coming out on Saturday afternoon and filling up the tank. That was awesome. And the faucet, the hot water faucet in the furnace room has been fixed. It's good to go. I think we should put, while we're looking at that too, Claire, insulating that pipe, I think we should look at getting some laundry hoses or something, so that those faucets, I think we're gonna have to replace the drywall. It got pretty wet, but just so those faucets can not always drip on the drywall there every time. So maybe something else to think about when we're looking at that. Maybe when it's not -30, like you say, but maybe something to put in just for us to remember too. Anyhow, that got done, and we talked about the water system.
Should we think about maybe checking towards the top and see about getting some spray foam insulation, just spray up there and see if we can stop the draft a little bit?
Just like a can?
Yeah, there's a can of something in there. I don't know whether like a low expansion, something that we can at least maybe slow down the draft. We won't eliminate it, but.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can look at that. Great. Any other thoughts on that one?
Whether it's coming from the floor or the attic.
It seems like it's coming from the attic, or like where the shed roof meets the back wall, like at the kitchen there. It seems like it, but it is tough to tell.
We need a smoker there, Claire, to tell us.
I know where you can get one.
Great.
That drywall.
Okay.
Maybe like Jennifer says, spray foam in behind it to seal it up.
Yeah, maybe even a piece of rigid foam, like a foam board. If we got the drywall off, just slide it in.
I have some chunks of old, just odd pieces of drywall around here too that we can, if we need to replace a hunk, I think I can come up with a hunk of drywall we can stick back in there too. So. Okay,
great. Perfect. Okay, well, let's maybe look at doing that in April or late March or something when it's a little bit warmer potentially. Just in time for the summer. Keep the pipes from freezing in August. Okay, I think that was. Sorry, I didn't write down all of our amended agenda items there. Kayla, was there any other new business?
Nope, you did good. Your water system, your report from council, and your water and heating system.
Great. Okay. Anything else people would like to discuss before we move on to the last bottom part of the agenda here? Okay, not seeing any hands raised or any comments in the chat. No. Okay. All right. Next meeting listed here is Thursday, March 25th. Is that how does that sound for everyone?
Are we going to incorporate that one as our AGM?
What's
the it's due now, right?
Yeah.
We usually had it the last weekend of February.
Yeah, with the Chili Bowl. What
Bowl.
Are people doing for AGMs now, Kayla? What's
AGMs are usually the election of board positions. So if you'd like to do that again, your treasurer, your chair, booking agents, so on and so forth. Then also a brief report on the years past, which with 2020 probably won't be too extensive, but That's,
It'd be pretty brief.
yes.
So sorry, no, I meant like what's kind of happening with that? Like, are other hall boards having virtual AGMs and those sorts of things, or is it
Yep.
something we can just put on? Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been having a few virtual AGMs.
Okay.
Creedmoor BIAs is on March 9th, so that'll be done virtually as well. We've had Sunnydale do theirs as well. It was very brief, just the election of positions, a brief financial report, events report, which again was super brief. And that was basically it.
How does that is that open to the public then? Like, how does the public get invited?
Yep. So all of these meetings, the public is invited to all of them, and it is advertised on our website. So people are welcome to click the link if they go into the agenda portion. It says webinar for your AGM. If you'd like, I can also look into live streaming it on our YouTube channel. And that way people can just go to Clearview Township's YouTube channel and watch it live there as well. So it's completely up to you, whatever suits the board.
If we want, like, we usually try and encourage public participation. So how have you been doing that with like, if the people click the YouTube, they can't, ask questions of the financials or, those sorts of things?
So the best
Again,
that I can offer is, again, probably through this format and having them join as an attendee. So if you click on that participant link in the bottom section, bottom banner, the participants will show up, and I have a view, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, of attendees. So anybody who does join in while we're doing this right now, and again, anybody can do it right now, I would see them show up. And I can allow them to come in as panelists. We can see their face, or if it's a call, and they can participate virtually that way as well. I can actually put an agenda item on there as public participation, so we have a set area where people can then chime in or raise their hands.
Yeah, okay, I think that's good.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And the notice requirements, it's just, is it 2 weeks or is it 30 days or?
No, it's the same as most other agendas. So a week before, it'll all be posted, and you can advertise it if you'd like. However, if you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then I guess let's do it on that Thursday, the 25th, if that's okay. We can make that our AGM, if that works for folks.
Yes.
And for me.
Works for me.
Great. Okay,
All good.
then let's since it's an AGM, let's have a motion to approve the AGM for the 25th of March at 7:30 p.m.
I'll
motion.
motion.
Oh, great. Jennifer and Lori. Perfect. And all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Great. So, good. Thanks, Karen. Okay, great. So then we'll have our AGM then that night, and we may need another meeting potentially if we hear back from council about moving forward on the AODA. Since that's an AGM, I don't know if we would include that on the agenda for that meeting, but I guess we'll see. And yeah, anything else anyone needs to say before we head out?
We have all board members have a verbiage or something to tell council what we want for the evening hall.
Sure. Do you want to write something up, or do you want to? What are you thinking, Ed?
Well, because right now we're verbally to John, but if we had something on behalf of all the evening hall members.
I can tell you letter writing has really been effective for the BIA.
To council.
To council and staff.
Right.
Sure. I'll work on something over the weekend, and I will send it out through email for e-vote or approval, and if everybody thinks it's good, I'll send it to. I'll ask our council rep to send it to council officially for us. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Perfect.
Bill,
Sounds
Okay. Oh,
sorry, could I just have a motion to direct you to write a letter to council regarding the renovations, and then you can
sure. I
send it
think
out
Ed
for,
moved that.
yes.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. And all in favor of that one? All
Aye.
right. Thanks. Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn. Claire. Perfect. Seconder. Gary. Okay, awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you later.
Night,
Bye.
everybody.